The Panzer II was a light tank, 10-ton class, manufactured by Nazi Germany. The Panzer II tank was developed as a light tank for training and handling guns that the Panzer I could not manage and for acquiring tank production technology. It was produced by MAN, Daimler-Benz, Henschel, Wegmann, Alcott, FUMA, and MIAG. It served as a stopgap until the main battle tanks, the Panzer III and IV, were ready, providing a certain level of combat capability to replace the underpowered Panzer I. The prototype was completed in 1935, and from 1936, several dozen increased prototypes were produced, with full-scale production of the A variant commencing the following year. Like the Panzer I, this vehicle was also developed under the pretext of being an agricultural tractor. While the armament of the Panzer I is the 7.92 mm machine gun MG-13K, the Panzer II is reinforced with a 2 cm automatic cannon KWK-30 on the left side of the turret front and a 7.92 mm machine gun MG-34 on the right side of the turret front. Between the left and right armaments, there was a telescopic sight. There are standard types from models A to C, and F, which share the turret, but the hull is of completely different designs for the D and E models, and further different designs and developed models from the G type onward. In Type A and B, the small wheels were supported by a leaf spring suspension bogie with 2 wheels each, and the bogie axles were connected by a girder beam. However, in Type C, each wheel was independently supported by an arm with a leaf spring, which became the standard for subsequent types. Later, various self-propelled guns were built using this chassis. The Panzer I, which began production in 1934 as the first mass-produced tank for rearmament, had a strong experimental significance for serious tank development and was too small to be used for training purposes. Moreover, the development of the more advanced tanks that should follow, the Panzer III and IV, was expected to take some time, so a plan was made to develop a slightly larger light tank with more powerful armament to bridge the gap. The development order was issued to Krupp, MAN, and Henschel in July 1934, shortly after the production of the Panzer I began. Its specifications indicated a combat weight of 10 tons, which was double that of the initial LaS. The development name of the Panzer. The armament was to include a fully rotating turret equipped with a 2 cm autocannon and a 7.92 mm machine gun mounted coaxially. The main armament chosen was the vehicle-mounted version of the new 2 cm Flak 30 autocannon, which had started production that year. As a result of comparing and examining proposals from 3 companies, the one from MAN was adopted, and under the confidential name of LaS 100, Agricultural Tractor Type 100, the production of 25 pre-production units was ordered. While the chassis production and final assembly were carried out by the developing company MAN, the upper structure was handled by Daimler-Benz, just like Panzer I. In October 1935, a prototype vehicle made of soft steel was completed, followed by the production of 25 units of Panzer I/1 as initially ordered, and then the same number of Panzer I/2, along with 50 units of Panzer I/3. In exchange for hastening practical use, the production of these early models involved continuous minor modifications. From February 1937, 25 units of the enhanced armored Type B were produced. The continued Type C, 25 vehicles produced, retains the body shape of the previous model, but the suspension was completely renewed. The girders were eliminated, and each relatively large diameter road wheel was independently suspended using leaf springs, which became the standard for subsequent models. Each model was equipped with a Maybach HL57TR, 130 horsepower engine, but in the Type B and C models, the engine was upgraded to the Maybach HL62TR, 140 horsepower, to accommodate the increased weight. After this Type C, the Panzer II finally entered full-scale production, with nearly identical Types A, B, and C being produced a total of 1,088 units from July 1937 to April 1940. During this production period, on October 25, 1938, the official designation Panzer, 2 cm, Special Vehicle Number 121, Panzerkampfwagen II, 2 cm, SD KFZ.121, was assigned. The crew configuration consists of 3 members, a commander who also acts as a gunner in a one-man turret, a driver on the left side of the front of the chassis, and a radio operator who also serves as a loader positioned behind the driver. The radio operator sits on the floor, with a radio and an ammunition box for the 2 cm machine gun to his left. The radio is equipped with either a Fu.2 receiver or a Fu.5 transceiver. There are hatches for entry and exit, one for the commander on the top of the turret, one for the driver on the top left side of the front of the chassis, in front of the driver's seat, and one for the radio operator on the top left side of the rear of the chassis. There is a visor on the left rear side of the combat room, allowing the radio operator to observe the rear. The engine is located on the right side of the rear of the chassis. A drive shaft extends forward from the engine, and the transmission connected to the drive shaft is also on the right side of the chassis. The Panzer II tank was first tested in the Spanish Civil War, alongside Panzer I tank. As the production of the main battle tanks, the Panzer III and Panzer IV tanks, could not keep up, the II tank was deployed as the main battle tank during the invasion of Poland at the start of World War II. In the early blitzkrieg tactics, its agility and mobility were greatly displayed, and its combat capabilities were effective at the time. Heinz Guderian, who is said to be the creator of the blitzkrieg tactics, later stated, "I never expected to go into a world war with these training tanks." However, on the other hand, the 2 cm machine gun, which could also use grenades, was regarded as ideal for attacking heavy machine gunners, who were the infantry's greatest enemy. Due to its small head area and low cost, some in the general staff even recommended adopting this tank as the main force. Additionally, the main gun was originally developed from a heavy anti-tank rifle into a high-velocity anti-aircraft gun, allowing its armor-piercing shells to exhibit considerable power against lightly armored targets. However, with opposition from Ludwig Beck, who prioritized anti-tank firepower, the initial plan to use the Panzer III as the main force was ultimately maintained. After the Polish campaign, once the production of the Panzer III and Panzer IV tanks began to stabilize, Panzer II was downgraded to primarily reconnaissance and liaison missions. Nevertheless, for some time afterward, it remained the main vehicle of the German tank units in terms of numbers. Although the armor was slightly reinforced from Type B onward, it remained thin, and during the Polish campaign, it suffered significant damage from anti-tank weapons, with at least 78 vehicles becoming total losses beyond repair. As a result, from May 1940 onwards, a modification was carried out to attach 15 mm or 20 mm additional armor to the front of the hull and turret of Types C and AC. Furthermore, after the Battle of France in October 1940, a new commander's cupola equipped with a periscope all around was introduced, replacing the large square hatch on the turret roof, and this modification kit was distributed. Despite its decreasing effectiveness, Panzer II tank continued to fight on the Balkan Front, North African Front, and the Eastern Front. In March 1941, production began for the F model, the final variant of the standard Panzer II tank. Compared to the C model, the F model had overall increased basic armor thickness, with a flat front hull composed of flat plates, and the front of the fighting compartment became a single plate spanning the entire width of the hull. Additionally, the turret was equipped with a cupola from the start. Originally intended to continue production following the C model, the new redesign encountered delays, resulting in a production start about a year late. By this time, its value as a tank was nearly lost. However, Germany had begun a substantial expansion of its armored divisions, and production was carried out to meet that need. Production was conducted solely by FAMA, and by December 1942, 524 units were manufactured. The production of the standard Panzer II concluded with this, but the chassis continued to be produced for derivative self-propelled guns.